Hi friends, I'm here with Blaize Thomas and he is a photographer and we're going to talk everything photography if I haven't said photography enough. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Okay, tell me, what made you get into this industry?
When I was younger, I felt really connected to art and that manifested it in a lot of different ways. I wound up being gifted a set of old film cameras and I found it enjoyable to explore and create, and that sense of connection to creativity never went away. I remember going to different events and always feeling like I was missing something if I didn't have a camera in my hand. So it just felt like a part of me and a really natural extension of how I think and express myself. It's something that I get joy from, and it's a passion of mine. So it's just a blessing to have the ability to speak the language that comes with photography and connect with people in a way that photography allows.
Is there a certain type of photography that you prefer?
Throughout the years that I've been exploring photography and engaging with it, I've been doing so many different types: real estate, events and weddings, and I got my start with concerts, but I love portraits. I love any kind of photography that allows me to connect with people. So portraits is pretty high up on my passion list when it comes to expressing myself through photography, but weddings as well. Weddings is a rare opportunity to be present on the most important day of someone's life and play a positive role in how all of that ends up being remembered.
Do you think that there's a specific reason, I think you might have touched on it, just like the human connection, why you prefer to do portrait?
I think connecting with people is a pretty key component to it. I grew up feeling like I was an introvert, and it always felt like a difficulty to do photography with people. In those early days, I kind of did photography on my own. I would take photos of buildings or graffiti and art in Toronto when you didn't really have to connect with people and break that sort of barrier. And it was comfortable, but it wasn't as gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're in a position, or once I was in a position to break that wall, you get to learn so much more about an individual person, but also people in general. And that's one of the things that I found the most rewarding. You get people's stories and you find out their passions, and it's a microcosm of the world through an individual person, and you get to repeat that process again and again, and it's exciting and fun and thrilling and really rewarding.
Is there something in your pictures, like I know very little
Mm-hmm.
about photography, so I know there's different shades, different depths, what makes, in your opinion, an interesting picture?
Story.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be I want to say a true story, but I also kind of want to say a real story. There are a billion stories, and what could translate in a photo to one person could be a completely different story than what would translate in a photo to another person.
Mm-hmm.
So just something that's true, something that's expressive, something that makes people feel and respond. If I see a photo of a little kid crying, it may be a sorrowful moment as far as how my brain registers it, but you may see joy in the expression of the kid that makes you read that photo a different way. So photography to me is all about stories, photos that really make me connect, and I feel like the photos that are the most successful create a response in other people and tell a story regardless of whether it's an elaborate one or a simple one.
So before taking on this beautiful venture that kind of feeds your soul, what did you do before this?
That's a tricky one because my relationship with photography goes really far back. So we're teleporting right back to high school days, and even then I was interested and engaged with photography, but the career that I imagined for myself before photography was a video editor.
I edit so much videos now, and that was your dream job.
Well, it wasn't my dream job. I think I was really practical. I remember being laughed at by one of my best friends because this conversation came up in a high school setting when we were talking about what's your dream job.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to laugh.
No. Technically, back then, my response was like a barista at an internet cafe, I remember, because I was laughed at. But at the time that I was genuinely trying to choose a career, I realized that video editing was something that I could do for a really long time. I would sit at a computer for hours and hours and hours, and I enjoyed the.
And it does take that long.
It's very long.
Yep.
And I realized that there's problems that pop up when you're video editing, and there's problem solving, and there's opportunity for creative solutions. And basically, if your brain can conjure it, you can kind of start to create it. It's storytelling.
Manipulate it.
Once again, it's storytelling. So that was a career that I saw for myself, and I've found that I came to a fork in the road. Photography was always in my life. From before, I was really trying to formulate an image of what a high school career or a career could be for me in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dream or the vision in high school kind of became maybe a career in video editing, or I mean, that can go in a lot of different directions. You can go a film route, you can go video editor for sports. So those two careers kind of became a fork in the road, and I went with photography, and it's been something that I've loved and never regretted pursuing since.
Amazing. So I know we touched on it a little bit, but can we go into your specialty?
Yeah, I mentioned a little while ago that I've done a lot of different kinds of photography in my career, but I really do love weddings. They are particularly special. Doing portraits, there's a one-on-one rapport that I get to build, and a specific creative exploration that I get to engage with. But with weddings, it's just everything is heightened. The passion that's involved in the day, the importance of the occasion, me knowing that I gotta bring my best in my A game, so there's a challenge to it as well. It's just, there's nothing like it. I love to be present on the day of a wedding and be a worker for the people who have put all of their energy and passion into creating the day that is the most beautiful to them. So I'm really connected to weddings, and I really love doing them. It's almost, this may sound cheesy, but it's almost a gift for someone to look at your work and say that not only we trust you to do a good job when this day is so important to us, but we're also going to bring you along and have you connect with our family, see our tears when we say the words that mean the most to us. There's just nothing like it when it comes to photography for me. So I particularly love weddings, and I'm happy to be able to say that I rock them every time that I'm blessed with the opportunity to shoot a wedding.
Can we talk about services?
Sure.
So you do photography.
Yes.
If someone is looking for videography,
yep,
does that
Yeah,
Is that something that you guys do?
They go hand in hand. I am a one-stop shop, so I do both. I work on my own, so it's really nuanced job, but I love to do both. There are so many moments that are captured, or so many moments that are available for a wedding. So if a client would like photos as well as videos, I'm absolutely capable of offering them.
Amazing. Okay, so when people hire you, and that's regardless of, I know you love weddings, but I know you do real estate photography, you do portraits, you do headshots. There's several different things that you do. So when people hire you, what can they expect from you?
Cooperation, my creative insight, my advice, but also an ear. Like I find that a lot of photographers have an idea of what they would like to execute, but I also like to incorporate the person who has a vision or has a want. If someone comes to me and says, I don't know what I really want from this, then I can step in and offer them guidance and a vision. But if someone says, hey, I'd really love to do a shoot that looks like this and feels like this and creates this kind of mood, it's important that the photographer is completely open and capable of executing what a client wants and asks of them. So I never want to be a bulldozer and say, no, I have a vision and I want to do what I want to do because I know better. I think that photography, especially with a client, is a collaboration. So it's not that I'm the artist and you are the subject. There's an opportunity for us to be artists together. It's a collaboration and we are sharing a vision and creating something together. So cooperation, a genuine listener, passion, and a want to have fun with the process, because not everybody's comfortable in front of the camera. I'm not.
You're not.
Which is weird. I mean, maybe it's not weird, but most photographers don't really love to have the camera pointed at them. So
why not?
Empathy as well, because we are used to it being the other way around. So I have a lot of respect and give a lot of credit to people who are willing to model when it's not what's most natural to them, or on the day of an event where you have a need to have a photographer. You may be graduating or doing this or that, but it doesn't mean that you're just naturally going to be receptive and open and at ease with a camera pointed at you. It doesn't work like that. So I give people a lot of credit when it doesn't really come natural to them and they make it work and they get comfortable with it. So yeah, I think it's because we are not used to it. We're used to having the control, and anytime you kind of take that away and flip it, it's just like, oh.
So in your head, when you are the subject, are you kind of like, ooh, I wonder what angle you're taking this at? Or are you creating the depth or the shadowing? Like, does that happen when someone else is taking maybe, eh?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like, it does when it feels off.
Okay.
It stands out when someone feels like they don't know what they're doing. But when another person is mastering what they do and they've got this, then that part of your brain can kind of switch off, and you trust the person who's really wielding the camera and showing that they got this. If you see someone bumping along and it's a little weird and you can see them struggling, you're just like, you might want to move that way.
I love that you describe this kind of like driving a car. You're like, kind of, because it's like, oh, you know, if you can tell when someone has control of the situation. And so you feel okay and at ease with it. Isn't that crazy? It seems rather, that's when you know someone's passionate, when they compare it to a life or death situation.
Well, if someone was driving a car with you in it and they're like, oh, is this the windshield wiper? Is it the, no, okay. You're like, are you good? You got this? Or should I take the camera? I mean, the wheel.
You see my point? Well, that's great. Okay, so can you tell us, how does everyone get a hold of you? What's the best method?
Yeah, social media is great. My website is Photo Blaize. I was going to say it's simple, but my name is spelled all kind of funny.
Don't worry, I'll put it here.
Perfect. Photo Blaize is the website. You can get through to me or in touch with me through that website. My Instagram is...
Right here again.
My Instagram is Photo Blaize as well. So either place is great. I'm happy to field any questions, answer any questions, or just reach out.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Anytime.
It was lovely to kind of learn a little bit more about you and your industry. As always, like, comment, and share. Thank you.